Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody today to this evening's meeting. We've got a full roster of meetings tonight. Tonight we will start with a public meeting agenda for the Planning Act zoning bylaw amendments. We will welcome members of council, members of staff, those in the gallery, members from the media, and of course, those joining by Zoom. We will call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. and note the members present. We will begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathering on the land that has been inhabited by Indigenous people since time immemorial. We would like to recognize that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and the land on which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. Specifically, we acknowledge the neighboring community of Mishwekant First Nation, for whom we have great respect. We also recognize the contributions of all Indigenous people, including the Métis, in shaping and strengthening the community and province of Ontario. Thank you, and miigwech. We will now move on to item number 2, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman. Resolved that the agenda for the public meeting Planning Act scheduled for Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Seeing and hearing none, we will move on to item number 4, announcements. Are there any announcements from any members of council? Seeing none, item number 5, new business. 5.1, temporary zoning bylaw amendment, Red Pine Exploration.
Testing. Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me? Thank you. Red Pine Exploration has provided to Council an application for a temporary rezoning. It's for its property that it owns on Saluga Road, where its mining camp is based. It's identified as a mining claim. They had come to Council 3 years ago on June 1st, 2021, and applied for a temporary rezoning to permit for 3 years residential dwelling units in the form of mobile work camps be constructed on site as a permitted use under the rural category. And Council back in that day approved that bylaw. So that 3-year period is coming up and expiring on May 31st, 2024. So the company is again asking for Council to consider a temporary use zoning bylaw for an additional 3 years to allow their work site camps to continue on the site. The company also entered into a site plan agreement bylaw that Council approved back in June 2021. And that site plan is still applicable to today and can continue if Council agrees with the zoning bylaw, where the owner had entered into agreement with the municipality to take care of such things as agreeing to sanitary fees. They have a sanitary collection system approved by Algoma Health on the site. And so to dispose of that sewage, they entered into and are into an agreement in paying all required fees. They also dispose of all their construction debris and refuge at the Wawa landfill and pay all municipal landfill dumping fees. The bunkhouse at the time was constructed with the proper building permit and inspection by our building official. So it's in compliance with that. And in the agreement, it also states that the company shall cease and desist and remove all the mobile trailers and bring the site back to its original condition at the expiry of 3 years or the expiry of the bylaw should Council approve. So there are a number of things in the site plan that make sure that the property is following all municipal policies and good planning. With the request for the temporary zoning amendment, we did the public circulation. As of today, we received no written comments for or against the application, and the owner's agents are here tonight should Council have any specific questions. In my report, I've reviewed the temporary zoning and the impact on our municipal planning laws and provincial policy statements, and the temporary use does match with all our intentions in our land use planning policies. It's a temporary nature. It doesn't involve any major construction. It doesn't really change the character of the land. Mining camps have had a long history in our community to help companies, particularly in the exploration stage, to affordably and in a consistent manner have people on site so exploration can happen. That the use doesn't cause any adverse traffic hazards or impact on the environment that isn't already approved by company permits. So in terms of staff recommendation, we conclude that the proposed temporary zoning should be approved for another 3 years, that the existing site plan stay in effect to make sure that all the required regulations are followed in terms of our landfill and our sewage dumping and clauses like I've stated around at the end of 3 years, if the use isn't continued, that everything be returned back to its natural state. So staff is recommending that council approve rezoning of the site at their next regular meeting on May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maury. I will now ask the applicant or the representative if they wish to speak to the application. I'm seeing shaking heads, so no. Does any member of council have any questions or comments at this time? I'm also seeing shaking heads. Quicker and easier than I had expected. I did have a question for Maury about the 3-year extension. So this is the second, assuming that council doesn't have any objections, this would be the second 3-year approval. How many temporary extensions is the municipality permitted to grant before it becomes a permanent structure?
In the past and most recently, the provincial government has changed the Planning Act. In 2021, when this first came to council, it was only permitted one time with one 3-year extension. But most recently, the government has changed that law, and so temporary zonings there's no expiry date. They can be renewed for 3 years or 2 years. It's a maximum of 3 years, but council can, it appears, reapprove them for eternity before it's ever considered a permanent use. Obviously, if that were to happen, staff may have different comment, agencies may have comments, so it is required every 3 years. If there is an extension asked, that they come to council and they go to the public and they go to agencies to make sure that any changes that might lead council to make a different decision in the future. From a planning perspective, I don't think it should be for eternity. At some point in the future, my initial recommendation to council at this time, subject to time maybe changing things, is that when a mining company might move from the exploration and development stage into actual mining operations, where it's a more permanent mining use of the land, that's when I think the municipality and council should look at the housing situation in the community to see if the housing needs can be met locally. If that's an answer that you were looking for, it can be continued for an indeterminate amount of time.
Perfect. Thank you very much. As usual, it was a perfect segue into to my point that, and I did have a document that I did want to pass along to Red Pine. So if you did want to come up and grab it, that'd be excellent. The municipality does have a Wawa Housing Action Plan that we did author this year. The housing plan does outline our housing priorities for the municipality of Wawa. And while I think tonight we don't see any objections to a 3-year extension for accommodations on site, we are really looking to work with our industry partners to build housing within our municipality that would certainly accommodate your workers on site. We have recently pledged, we do have a very aggressive housing pledge within the document. And like I said, we are really working to partner and work in collaboration with our industry partners. So please take a look, and I look forward to sitting down and discussing that document further and working together and really unlocking the 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 envelopes of funding that have been introduced today through the federal housing or through the federal budget, but also that the province has put on the table. So, because we can't do it alone, we definitely need to work with our partners in the community. So, if there are no other comments from council, I'd like to thank you for the application, and please note that any person who provided a written submission, they will be notified of council's decision in this matter. Any other comments from staff? Council will consider all matters placed before it prior to coming to a decision, but as I noted, there are no official objections, and this matter will be placed on an agenda in the future to be officially approved. This public meeting is now over. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the meeting closed at 6:40 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. We will now move on to our second meeting of the evening, the Committee of the Whole meeting. And we'll just give everybody 1 minute to move on to their next document. Manuel, do you want to just give me the heads up when you're ready?
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you just had to give me the... Perfect. So we will call this meeting to order and note the members present at 6:41 p.m. Item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. May I have somebody make a motion to approve? Councillor Hoffman? Councillor Opato seconding. All in favor? Carried. Item number 4, delegations and presentations. Our first delegation and presentation is from Mr. Gordon Draper, Community Living Awareness Month. Mr. Draper, the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Good evening, fellow Wawa community members. I'm proud to stand before you as May is announced Community Living Awareness Month. I'm Gordon Draper. I am here on behalf of Community Living Algoma. I am a member of Algoma Community Vision Advocates. We are individuals who speak out for change, advocating for others, and ourselves within CLA and the community of Algoma. Community Living Algoma is a nonprofit charitable organization committed to full inclusion, citizenship of people with intellectual disabilities, now celebrating the milestone of 70 years providing services and provides services and support to over 540 children and adults in the Algoma district. Community Living Awareness Month is also being recognized by Hornpain, Sault Ste. Marie, Elliott Lake, and Blind River. We are honored to share this recognition with you. Community Living Algoma will be celebrating their 70th anniversary with community events throughout the year. We invite those of you within each community to participate and engage with us. We hope to see you and your families to share this celebration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Draper. I have a little token of our appreciation from Mayor and Council. If you want to come up, I can give it to you.
Okay.
For anyone who was wondering, it was a goose pin. For anybody coming to do a delegation, we always like to give a goose pin. And for that Red Pine, if you'd like a goose pin, we can certainly make sure you get one as well. Item 4.2, we up next we have a presentation to Mr. Kevin Sabrin. Kevin, did you want to come up?
I'll give you this mic if you want to. I can hold it.
I don't know if I can hold it and read it, Kevin. You're going to have to help me out. So, look at now we're taking pictures first and everything. So, this certificate recognizes that Kevin has successfully completed the academic and experience requirements of the Ontario Association of Property Standards Officers and is now registered as a full member and is authorized to use the designation Certified Property Standards Officers. So as somebody who has been working on a few designations over the years, this is a big congratulations to Kevin, because I know you have to dig a little deep sometimes to make sure these things get done. The Ontario Association of Property Standards Officers was founded in 1974 with the purpose to provide training to all municipal personnel who are engaged in the administration or the enforcement of legislation governing the maintenance, occupancy, repair, and improvement of property and in the environment. Kevin is now fully certified to administer the property standards bylaw in Wawa. So this is very important for so many reasons, but this is something we hear a lot of from our residents, that they do, property standards is a priority in our community. So congratulations, Kevin, for achieving this. It's something that, that certainly I'm very proud that you've achieved this. And I know that our whole municipal team is. So I feel like you've just put a whole mountain of work on your desk. So just added to the never-ending workload. So congratulations, we are very proud of you, and I know that you'll do a great job for our community. The mic and the paper.
Do you want a picture with your family or anything?
Yeah, we'll pick one out.
Okay.
the marina building that got torn down, how did you measure that it was only a half load to go to the dump?
It's done by weight. The material there is just, it's construction material, mostly wood and insulation. So it's not considered gravel, which is a heavier weight ratio. So we didn't really fill the trucks up, and the truck that we use, the roll-off truck, cannot hold too much weight for that.
I saw that. And Alex, you said last about all the mold that was in that. So if it had a whole bunch of mold, what did we do to protect the guys taking the building down, and how did, isn't that hazardous?
So things with mold in it aren't considered hazardous waste under the regulation that governs other types of hazardous waste. So it wouldn't have needed to go to a hazardous waste day. In terms of protection, it was a combination of personal protective equipment. So things like before, when the building was sealed, before we took the windows out, making sure that everybody was wearing an N95 or P100 mask, which is enough protection for the short amount of time they'd be in there. And then once the windows are out, the increase in ventilation really helps protect people. So once the windows are out, once the building is down, things like that, there's way less of a risk of mold or other dusts or issues like that. So at that point, you wouldn't have to wear anything unless a significant amount of dust was created, which wasn't observed on site.
Would you have had to bag it to take it to the dump, or can it just go in the back of the truck?
At that point, it can just go in the back of the truck, because again, the problem with like lower concentrations of mold like that, it's only really inside where the parts per million, which is how it's measured, becomes an issue. When it's outside, you've got so much more essentially dilution from the air that it's safer to be in there because the parts per million are much lower. So molds typically have a threshold between 300 and 1500 parts per million. So inside of a building, that becomes an issue, but outside in the fresh air, if you were to take a sample from 5 feet away from a truck, you might have 100 or 50 parts, even if it was really bad inside the truck, just because there's so much air around you to dilute that.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Councillor Hatfield?
Dan, in your report, or Becca's report, whoever, you talk about the trees that are going to be taken down. Is it you guys going to take them down, or?
Yes. Yes, infrastructure is going to take the trees down.
Okay, I know the M&R requires a course on chainsaws. Like, do you have to do that too? Or can we just get the guys that are experienced doing it?
Our workers all have the certified chainsaw courses.
Good, good. I have a couple of questions for Alex. Okay, Alex, in the Valley Park, you're redoing the visitor's guide. Did you take Valley Park out?
I think yes. I will have to get back to you and double check. I haven't seen the final copy of the map yet, but that is one of the intentions for right now until that crossing is secured.
Okay, I hope it is. Okay, you're in your report, you're doing health and safety. Like, is that for all the departments?
Yeah, so I talk about the WSIB Health and Safety Excellence Program. So that's something that's across the board. So if council remembers, last year we reviewed our health and safety policy and passed a couple new health and safety policies in that. That was from some of the work we did through the Excellence Program. So last year we took 5 topics, and this year we're taking 5 topics again. WSIB has a whole series of exercises that we can do to make our health and safety processes better around those 5 topics. And if we can show that we've implemented them successfully, we get a rebate as part of our program. So I believe last year we got Yeah, $7,000 or $8,000 rebate because we could show that we made our health and safety processes more effective across the municipality.
And do you teach that to all departments?
Yes.
And all departments are notified?
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
we've begun doing an annual health and safety training day. So we do departmental training. So because each individual department, of course, has different training requirements, but we also do one day of everybody gets together and we train everybody on the same subjects that apply essentially to everybody.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much. Councillor Opato, Councillor Hoffman? Councillor Cannon?
Alex, for the Goose Nest markets, do you charge people to use those?
So we typically charge a very small fee to make sure that people actually take the market that they're going to be at. We used to do it for free, but we found that people canceled essentially willy-nilly, and those were spots that other people could then not take. So we charge for a larger market like this, I'm going to say $25 to vendors to essentially keep the spot and make sure they're not going to bail out last minute.
Okay, thanks.
So we'll now move on to item number 8, new business. Item 8.1, Goose Nest and Broadway murals. Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So if council remembers, a couple meetings ago, we entered into an agreement with the building owner of 16 Broadway, which is the old Berdusco building, to place a mural there. At that time, council had tasked staff with going and developing a request for proposals for this mural. So this isn't a traditional request for proposals, so we're coming back to council to essentially ask permission to make modifications for this time to our purchasing policy, because we'd like to involve the community a little bit more in choosing the artist. I think it's a pretty common saying that art is in the eye of the beholder, or beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so choosing an artist can be kind of difficult for staff who are used to, choosing like tender proponents and things like that, which we have a matrix for. We have an evaluation grid. This is a little bit more difficult, and we'd like some community input in a similar way to how we got input for the person who would build the new goose. So I've given council essentially in this report the reasons why we like to do this, as well as a little bit of the process. But to break it down for council, what we're looking at doing is having proponents provide us with a proposal that we then put on our website so that everybody in the community can see it, have people from the community vote on which person they would like to see do the mural, which is a way of getting a score. So we've assigned 40% to that. We'd also like to form a committee of the folks involved. So we'd like to have a member of council, a building owner, a member of the Goose Nest committee, and some people who are directly involved with events at the Goose Nest to form a committee and also score the proposal. And then, of course, staff will have to be involved because there are some minimum requirements that everybody who works on behalf of the municipality needs to meet, and that's our job, to make sure that council doesn't put the municipality at risk by, purchasing from somebody we're not allowed to under free trade agreements, things like that. So that gives us a total score of 100%, broken down 40% community vote, 40% committee vote, and then 20% staff kind of checking the boxes and making sure that things are okay. So we've developed that process in the hopes that it'll be very engaging to the community. It's something that everybody, we're hoping to have a lot of buy-in of. And we've also developed this process that we can apply to future murals. So we'd like to see a mural at 96 Broadway because there's a big open brick wall right at the start of our community. That would be great for that. We'd like to see the murals done in a similar style to what was done on Judy Page's building, where that's essentially a giant sticker. That's lasted really well in terms of weathering and how it looks like. And so I think that material has proven itself in our northern environment. And that also opens it up to some more digital artists too. So just because you don't have skill with a physical paintbrush doesn't mean you couldn't design something really nice that the community would like for that we can then have a contractor essentially stick on the side of a building, or we could even stick it on ourselves. So that's what we're proposing here. If council is in agreement, then what we'll do is essentially release the RFP, start doing some minor advertising to the public about what the process looks like. And then once we've received RFPs from a variety of artists, then we would have a larger advertising campaign, go public, form the committee, and essentially get as much feedback as we can from the community before bringing it back to council for the final approval of the proponent.
Thank you very much, Alex. I see that your recommendation is very clear here. Does council have any comments or questions? Councillor Cannon?
Who is paying for this? Like it says, based on funding, but are you wanting the municipality to pay for it first before you get the funding? Or is this all going to come from funding?
Yeah, so right now this is in our subject to funding portion of the budget. So typically we wait for funding before releasing an RFP. Just because we release an RFP doesn't mean we have to go further in the process. We can release an RFP and then pause it there until we receive funding. As I've indicated in this report, we have made an application for funding. There's other opportunities for us to apply as well. And then we do have a certain amount budgeted because we didn't expect we'd get this 100% funded. So essentially, once we've gone through the RFP process, we have the opportunity to make one or both recommendations for murals. And I'm hoping at that time we'll have an actual answer for council of have we received funding, have we not?
Perfect, thanks.
Are there any questions or comments from council? So I'll just summarize the recommendation is that you're looking for a direction from council to issue the RFP subject to funding, and that you're looking for a member of council to volunteer for the committee as well. Is there any objection? So we'll start with number one. Is there any objection to staff issuing the RFP based subject to funding? Seeing no objection, is anybody, would anybody like to show interest in sitting on this committee early on?
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. Councillor Hatfield says she's not any good at that. I would also be interested in sitting on the committee or just reviewing. Certainly if Councillor Cannon wants to, that's okay too. I'm particularly interested in the Indigenous component to make sure that that's correct. So I don't need to sit on the committee, but I do want to ensure that the Indigenous component is correct.
Happy to take that advice for sure.
So, awesome. Was there anything else that you needed from us on this?
Great. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So we'll move on to item number 8.2. Infrastructure memo for vehicular traffic control in Nishnawbe River Village. Dan, the floor is yours.
So this was written with request from residents in the mission and infrastructure staff. What we are asking council is for permission to follow the current traffic bylaw that has all the yield signs in the mission as stop signs. So if you've ever been into the mission, when you first come down the hill on the main road, those are all yield signs. The only person that has the right of way is the main person coming in on the mission road. It creates a lot of confusion in who has the right of way. So what we're asking council is to follow our current bylaw and change those signs to stop signs, which I think as a safety aspect would get rid of the confusion of who has the right of way if it becomes a stop. So we're asking council just to let us follow the bylaw and bring us up to compliance.
Is there any questions or comments, Councillor Hoffman?
Okay, so one, when you're coming into the mission, that will still be, guy coming in has the right of way, and you're gonna put the stop signs when you're coming out of the mission at those other 3 locations.
That's correct.
I'm good with that. It's kinda, I don't know why nobody thought about that sooner.
I have a question.
Councillor Cannon?
Have you consulted with the OPP on this? Like, is it really a municipality job to do all this? I know with the policy and the bylaw, but have you consulted with the OPP on whether they can come down and maybe charge some people, and at what cost to the town are the stop signs going to be?
I have not consulted with the OPP. We actually had consulted with the engineers who agreed with us. But for the stop signs, we'd like to do it in a 2-year progress. We'd like to use our current signs, what we have in stock, would supply us enough to do part of it, and then the following year do the rest.
So you don't have a cost of what this is going to cost the municipality yet?
Currently, no, this would be in our operating budget.
Councillor Opato, Councillor Hatfield? No? Dan, I did have a question. And it's related, but it certainly expanded the scope of this. I think the timing of something like this is really, especially as traffic increases in the Mission, with the increased traffic flow due to Superior Aggregates now running trucks through this area. So I think that this is definitely needed. But with regards to the increased traffic flow, I mean, I walk in the morning. I am now, as I walk down Queen Street in the morning, I'm passed by a number of big semi trucks and tractor trailers, floating equipment. Has there been any thought into making Mishawaka River Village Road, Queen Street, and Blue Crescent into a truck route?
Not that I know of.
So I think that's something that we should table that discussion as the increased traffic flows. We're going to need to increase not only signage, but I think the durability of that road. Every morning three pass by me in the 10 minutes that I'm on that stretch. And it's only going to get worse.
Thank you, Mayor. We will take that into consideration.
Thank you very much. So I think if there's no objection, I think we'll circle back to the recommendation that that Dan is looking for. Go ahead to basically to bring us into compliance with the current bylaw. So if there's no objections, that we'll give him the approval to go ahead and do that. Okay, thank you very much. Item 8.3. Sure. Does Kevin want his box on?
Test. Okay, I think you should be better off.
So we will move on now to 8.3, the draft fire prevention memo. Kevin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is another recommendation from the Fire Service Review Report that we develop a fire prevention policy. It's to help direct the fire department into doing fire prevention and public education throughout the community. There was a sample given to us by the Lomex group that we've used to develop ours. Right now, I'm presenting it to council for their review. Give them a couple weeks, and if they agree to it and have no comments, bring it back at a future council meeting to pass that bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Is there any questions, comments for Kevin? We don't have any questions or comments at this time. However, as Kevin stated, I encourage any member of council to provide any feedback to Kevin in the next couple of weeks, and it will be considered for adoption in his bylaw. Thank you very much. Item 8.4, Elgin District Municipal Association request for support. This is an item that I requested be put on the agenda for consideration and discussion. I'll speak to the second item, the minutes for the regular board meeting, February 22nd. There's an item that I wanted to bring to the attention of council. As we previously discussed, as a member of the ADSAP board, I have requested on a number of occasions that the board consider an alternative apportionment model that would consider how the board treats our treatment of our power dam grant. Letters were sent. Walla made a request to make a presentation to the ADSAP board. Unfortunately, after reviewing the request, the board decided that it would not, that it would continue to keep the funding model the way it is, and they denied our request. In the February meeting minutes, they did state that they had circulated a letter explaining to all member municipalities, including Walla, what went into to the request. We haven't received that yet. Before this meeting, I did ask where the letter was hoping to bring it back for council. So we really are back at square one. Walla never had the opportunity to make a case or make a presentation to the board as to why we thought that the funding apportionment model should be reviewed, which I was very, very disappointed. They really received our letter and said absolutely. So I don't feel like our case was heard. So we will we'll go back to the drawing board and see if there's another way. We did speak to the assistant minister at Roma, and I think that it would be my suggestion that we take this to AMO as well. But we'll certainly, we certainly won't give up. Unfortunately, that's not the only issue or challenge that we have with the ADSAP board. The ADSAP services, ADSAP provides municipalities with a number of services, housing, paramedic services, interior works, and childcare services. And where the ADSAP board is separated into an east and a western section, or a north and south section. It is my opinion, and we also share this opinion with the other northern communities, Quarantine, White River, Duberville, that the services that the northern section receives are not up to par, not up to the standard that we wish to receive. So I penned a letter and had the other mayors from Duberville, White River, and Quarantine sign it. And we asked for a service delivery review to have an outside party come in, look at the services that were being delivered, specifically the paramedic services in the north. We wanted to have an outside service delivery review come in, take an overview of them. When we made that request to the ADSAP board, again, it was denied by the board. They said the services you receive are absolutely fine. It's our opinion that that's our decision to make whether or not they're fine or not. So this letter, we have written it to ADMA, the Local District Municipal Association President. We will take this issue to the ADMA board. We have the petition the ADSAP board members to help them overturn that decision so we can get a service delivery review with the hope that we can overturn that decision that was made by the board. So hopefully we can at least solve that issue at that table. If we're going to pay an exorbitant amount of money, we at least want to get a bang for our buck. We at least want to get the services that we pay for. So that is what I wanted to bring to council today. And certainly very interested in receiving your feedback, questions, comments. Councilor Hatfield?
I worked with that staff when I was president over the Chris Heights. And when they first came in, they wanted us to keep it. And then when they looked at Brooks, they wanted them to keep it. We couldn't fight them, we're just two small people. But I don't understand when you ask for something, why they can't just, you're just asking for a review, you're asking for, and it's just no. Is there any reason left?
So they offered a number of reasons, but really their primary reason was that, the province implements regular reviews of their programs on an annual basis. But I think what we're looking for is a little bit of a deeper review. It's, the municipality, we do a service delivery review all the time just to make sure that we're, that we're having the most efficient delivery of our operations. I listed in my letter what we hope to get out of the service delivery review. We're really trying not to point any fingers. We want a service delivery review to make sure that, to identify any service delivery gaps or issues or potential operational risks. We want to make sure that we've got the best services that we can get. And as mayor and council, that's our job to make sure that our residents are getting the best services. Right now, we don't feel that they are, and we just want to understand what the underlying issues could be. And that's all we're asking for, so I don't think we're out of line. So we will take that message to the Algoma District Municipal Association. And we do have the support of, I gotta quit talking with my hands here, with our other regional communities. So I see some nodding heads. It looks like I have council support. You do. So, okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to item 8.5, tax bill and collection policy.
Good evening, thank you. So I did a review of the finance policy FT017 for property tax billing and collections, and the main recommendation is to change the timing of the collection. Collections of taxes receivable has been an issue for the last few years, both with Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing have recognized it in their analysis. Our auditors have recognized it, and we internally have recognized it as well as it's come to council before. So I'm requesting that we change our processes to align with the Municipal Act. So currently we send properties who are in third year of arrears to tax sale process, which takes about a year. And I'm proposing that we send them after 2 years, which would bring us in alignment with the Municipal Act, and that they go to collections after 1 year of arrears. So the way that works, our current year is considered current, and then the second year becomes your first year of arrears. So if you had a tax bill in 2022 and didn't pay it, it would become an arrear in 2023, and it would become your second year of arrear in 2024, and your third year in 25, and finally go to collection in 26. That's a 4-year process. You're paying $5,000 a year on your property. That's already $20,000 plus interest and penalties. Much harder to pay back than in 2 years. I don't like the idea of sending people to an external collection agency, but it's a tool that works very effectively because it does impact people's credit ratings. And I find from past practice that 90% of the letters that go out have a response where somebody calls me and makes payment arrangements to pay off their tax situation over 1 or 2 years, sometimes 3, but usually over 1 or 2. And then within that time, they become in the habit of paying it monthly, and they continue to do so, and they stay current. So it's a good learning curve for those people that need a little bit of help, and it definitely improves our bottom line. So my request is that we change this policy or review and update this policy to bring it up to those standards.
Thank you very much, Manuel. Is there any questions or comments from council? We are certainly all aligned with this policy.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 8.6. Marina Washington, RFP results. Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So just like other RFPs, after the RFP process is done and staff have scored them, we bring them back to council to confirm and enter into a contract with the proponent with the highest score. So in this case, we had 3 proposals for the replacement of the washers. They were all substantially similar except for in price, and you can see their one price is very high. So we're recommending going with High Falls Contracting, who came in at the lowest price and who met all of the bid requirements as per the proposal that council saw.
Excellent. Is there any questions or comments from council?
Are we allowed to ask who High Falls Contractor is?
We can
Sure.
yeah, we can give High Falls Contracting.
Oh, that's right.
Now you know?
Okay. I'm just wondering why theirs would be so low and everything. Are we building a palace that the other one came in so high?
So the one that came in so high is because they're not based in our community and they had a variety of sub-trades, so everybody has travel costs. And we see this quite often when we can't find stuff in our community. Typically travel costs include an hourly charge, a mileage charge, and a truck charge. So when you put those things together, multiplied by 3 or 4 sub-trades who are coming in, all of a sudden the price becomes very good.
Okay.
Seeing as though High Falls Contracting is second for so long, just, you want to say anything, Jay?
No, I'm just curious how it all works. That's great.
Does, do we want a goose pimp?
Oh, yeah.
I often wondered who High Falls Contracting is.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
Thanks for being.
Yeah. You have a very good reputation.
Thank you very much. So there are no items in item number 9, 10, or 11. And so we'll move on to item number 12. The next meeting date is Tuesday, May 7th. And we'll move on to item number 13, adjournment. We'll close the meeting at 7:22 p.m. May I have a mover? Councillor Kent? Councillor Hopkins, seconded. All in favor? Carried.
But I wrote a note.
So we'll just give a couple minutes to go move on to our next meeting.
Thank you, you guys.
So we'll now move into our regular council meeting agenda. Item number 1, call to order and all members present. Item number 2, just go for plenary. Seeing none or hearing none, we will move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. There are no delegations or presentations. So we'll move on to item number 5, announcements of giving and bonus. There are many announcements, so I encourage everyone to take a look. Does council have any announcements that they'd like to make? Go ahead, Councillor Kent.
There is a resolution for council to consider and hopefully support in item number 11.4. I'm just going to give you some background to the resolution. In late February, I was informed that the Screen for Life coach that does mammograms, pap tests, and fit tests is no longer coming to the Wawa, White River, Duberville, Chapleau, and Hornpain or the First Nations due to the provincial government lowering the age of screening to 40. So their own area is too busy for them to come to this area anymore. They were just doing this as a courtesy, as we don't have our own bus, and now they can no longer come. We are now required to travel to Sault Ste. Marie for mammograms. I have had a meeting through Maury with Katie and Sylvana from the Lady Dunn Hospital and our local MP to discuss this issue. This is ongoing. My fear is if the women have to travel for this screening, they will stop being screened. I am asking Mayor and Council to please support this resolution when it comes in item 11.4. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cannon. I would also like to make an announcement. April 16th to the 22nd is National Volunteer Week. Volunteering weaves us together, strengthens the fabric of our community. People share their time, their talent, and their energy to support one another. The municipality depends on volunteers. I want to give a big shout out, and I want to encourage everyone to volunteer a little bit of their time to their community this week. And if there are no additional announcements, we will move on to item number 6, adoption of minutes.
Moved by Councillor Rapato, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that the following minutes of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, as contained on pages 1 to 10, inclusive of the minute book. Minutes of a special meeting of council held on Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, as contained on pages 1 to 2, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 7, correspondence. There are a number of items listed under correspondence. Emma or Maury, is there anybody, or is there any issues that you'd like to pay particular attention to?
Thank you, Mayor, and on behalf of Manuel and I, if council could look at 7.3 in reviewing the correspondence. Wawa Area Victim Services is asking for a luncheon meeting with council or an opportunity to talk to council how we might do something in the community to recognize survivors of crime. And I believe, Mayor, you said you might be busy that week, I believe on May 15th. So you might want to ask another council member maybe to coordinate if they'd like to have a luncheon with executive directors. So I wanted to note that we might want to discuss that. And just in the consent agenda, we don't always what's considered just normal operating style resolutions. We don't read them all out, but we do them under one resolution called consent. I just wanted to note that there is the proclamation for Community Living Algoma to designate May 2024 as a Community Living Awareness Month, as Gordon Draper asked Council. And on 8.5, just to bring to Council's attention that unfortunately Councillor Hatfield's not able to attend FINOM due to an emergency situation, and so this resolution is just in lieu of Councillor Hatfield for Councillor Rapato to attend FINOM. So I just wanted to acknowledge those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just further to Maury's suggestion on item 7.3, we don't need to, I don't think we need to make a decision now, but perhaps if any members of council, I'm kind of looking to my left here, Councillor Hoffman or Councillor Cannon have a particular interest in police services and crime-related committees. So I will look to you first. Councillor Cannon would love to go. So if you were able to coordinate with Maury, great. Jim, you're also more than welcome to attend.
She was here last year.
Item number 8, consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Pato, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the items listed under consent agenda 8.2 to 8.8 be approved as recommended.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, staff memos.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Pato, resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby receive the following staff reports and memos. Protective Services Department KS 2024-04, March 2024 monthly report. Finance Department MP 2024-06, March 2024 monthly report. Infrastructure Services Department DBRW 2024-08, March 2024 monthly report. Community Services and Tourism Department AP 2024-08, March 2024 monthly report. AP 2024-08, Goose Nest and Broadway murals. DBRW memo, vehicular traffic control in Mishpacotton River Village. KS memo, draft fire prevention policy. MB 2024-07, tax billing collection policy. And AP memo, marina washroom RFP results.
All in favor? Carried. There's no business arising out of the previous minutes, so we'll move into number 11, new business.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby receive and endorse the Wawa Drinking Water System Operational Plan dated March 2024 as prepared by Ryan Wilson, Project Engineer, Crescent Engineering Corporation, and furthermore that a copy be made available to the public and posted on the municipal website.
All in favor? Carried. Item 11.2.
Pardon me. Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman, whereas the highway route suggested by Gilbert Boland in his letter dated February 6, 2024, to the mayors of Sudbury and Thunder Bay to reroute Highway 469 through Chapleau to White River would take millions of taxpayers' dollars and considerable time and resources to develop, including obtaining full Indigenous agreement with little to no financial benefit resulting to the province of Ontario, and would in fact result in the loss of jobs in existing small business operators such as motels, stores, gas stations, and restaurants operating in the municipality of Wawa and several other northern communities such as Sault Ste. Marie and Blind River located along the existing Trans-Canada Highway. And further, that the proposed Highway 400, Highway 69 extension suggested by Mr. Boland would not improve economic development throughout Northern Ontario, since the new proposed route would result in thousands of transport trucks and other vehicular traffic that travel the existing Trans-Canada Highway 17 between Sudbury and Wawa would be rerouted from traveling through many communities, negatively impacting jobs, economic development, tourism growth, and existing businesses. Now, therefore, the Council of the Municipality of Wawa indicates its strong objection to the letter and request from Gilbert Boland sent to the province, City of Sudbury, Township of Chapleau, and other various parties seeking support for a new Highway 400, Highway 69 extension to be built from Sudbury to Chapleau to White River, which would essentially bypass Wawa and other communities in northeastern Ontario that depend on highway traffic to support their economies, jobs, businesses, and families living in northeastern Ontario. And further, that a copy of this resolution be sent to all persons who received a copy of the Gilbert Boland letter, including the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, Minister of Transportation, Prabmeet Sarkaria, Associate Minister of Transportation, Vaye Thanagazalam, Deputy Minister of Transportation, Douglas Jones, Phenom, City of Sault Ste. Marie, Municipality of Blind River, and all communities located on the Trans-Canada Highway between Sudbury and Wawa.
All in favor? Carried. Item 11.3, loss of mobile cancer screen for life coach to Wawa.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, whereas Council of the Municipality of Wawa has been recently informed that the Thunder Bay Screen for Life coach delivering breast, cervical, and colon cancer screening services to Wawa and area clients for many years will no longer be traveling and providing services to the community in 2024, whereas Council recognizes and understands that challenges faced by women in Wawa, White River, Duberville, Chapleau, and Indigenous communities in the region to access mammogram, cervical paps, and colorectal cancer screening test services, and desires to bring awareness to this matter to ensure proactive and necessary cancer screening care is accessible, affordable, and available to all persons in the province of Ontario, including Northeastern Ontario, and communities in the Wawa region. Whereas in 2022, 170 persons from White River, Wawa, and Chapleau are estimated to have used the mobile coach to obtain mammograms, and in 2023, that number increased to approximately 205, broken down as follows: Chapleau, 65 in 2022 and 40 in 2023, Wawa, 70 in 2022 and 125 in 2023, White River, 35 in 2022 and 40 in 2023. Whereas council understands that a mobile cancer screening coach has been funded in Northeastern Ontario with planning and engagement to begin in the Northeast region in 2024 to operationalize the screening coach, but desires to ensure necessary supports are provided to clients in the area who are unable to travel on their own to attend cancer screening clinics and appointments outside their communities over the next few years until the mobile coach becomes operational and delivers cancer screening services to Wawa and surrounding communities. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Wawa requests that the Ministry of Health and Ontario Health, together with its partners, provide and fund a pop-up cancer screening clinic in Wawa to provide necessary testing services for anyone eligible for breast, cervical, and colorectal cancer screening until such time that the Northeast Mobile Cancer Screening Coach travels regularly to the community of Wawa and surrounding areas. Further, that this resolution be sent to the Ontario Minister of Health, Ontario Health Sault Ste. Marie, Northeast Regional Cancer Program Sudbury, Wawa Medical Clinic Physicians, Lady Dunn Health Centre CAO, MPP Michael Mantha, FNAW, Council White River, Council Duperville, Council Fort Payne, and Council Chapleau, Council Health Services CEO Don Morissette, and Algoma Public Health, Health Sciences North, and Sioux Area Hospital.
All in favor? Carried. 11.4,
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, whereas request for proposal number 2024-02 Marina washroom replacement was issued on Monday, March 25th, 2024, with a closing date of April 12th, 2024, and whereas 3 proposals were received, and whereas staff scored the proposals based on experience, proposed approach, and budget, now therefore be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby accept staff recommendation and award RFP 2024-02 Marina washroom renovations to High Falls Contracting in the amount of $75,200.00. HST excluded.
all in favor? Carried. There are no items listed under number 12, so we'll move on to items number 13, bylaws.
Sorry, I just moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Paddle. Resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 369524 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on the 10th and 16th day of April 2024. Bylaw number 369624 to authorize the municipality of Wawa to enter into an agreement with the Lady Dunn Health Centre for financial assistance to support the attraction and retention of medical professionals in Wawa. Bylaw number 369724 to enter into a conditional contribution agreement with the Federal Economic Development Agency for Northern Ontario, FEDNOR, for the hiring of an economic development and tourism officer for a 3-year contract to assist the community to grow and diversify the economy. Project number 851-515060. Bylaw number 369824 to adopt Municipality of Wawa Policy number PE008 Building Bylaw. Bylaw number 369924 to establish and regulate a fire department for the Municipality of Wawa. Bylaw number 370024 to authorize the sale of municipal land described as Lot E on Walker Engineering Drawing number A1 2007-32-61 and known as 6 White Drive to Kenny and Jose Martel. Bylaw number 370124 to enter into the lease agreement with Prop Air Inc. respecting the lease of a storage garage, 1 bay, at the Wawa Municipal Airport situated at 27A Mission Road, Wawa, Ontario. Bylaw number 370224 to enter into an airport compliance service agreement with the Lumex Group respecting operations of the Wawa Municipal Airport located at 27A Mission Road, Wawa, Ontario. Bylaw number 370324 to delegate authority to provide marriage solemnization services to Mr. Daniel McCoy, bylaw number 370424 to license, regulate, and govern short-term rental accommodations in Wawa, bylaw number 370524 to enter into memorandum of understanding with the townships of Dubreuilville, White River, and Fort Payne to provide services of an asset management coordinator for the period May 2024 to December 2025. Bylaw number 370624 to authorize the sale of municipal land described as Part 1 and 3 and known as 34 Back Avenue to Tyler Ken Martell. Bylaw number 370724 to adopt the schedule of fees for the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa for the year 2024. Bylaw number 370824 to adopt Municipality of Wawa policy number FT017, property tax billing and collections. Bylaw number 370924 to authorize the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa to enter into an agreement with the Wawa Goose Club respecting the lease of 63B Broadway Avenue to be utilized as a seniors club.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 14, closed session.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman. Resolved that this committee proceed in camera at 7:41 p.m. in order to address the following matter pertaining to legal issue number one item, offer to purchase property, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Municipal Act, Chapter 25, Section 239, subsection 2C. Legal issue one item, offer to purchase property, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Municipal Act, Chapter 25, Section 239, subsection 2C.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you.
We open the door, we begin.
Can I go ahead? Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that council resume to the open meeting session at 8:14 PM.
All in favor? Carried. There are no items under item number 16, business arising from closed session. So we will move on to item number 17, next meeting date, 17.1, Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. We will now move to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Opato, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the meeting close at 8:15 PM.
All in favor? Carried.